It's never easy to part ways, especially when you've been with someone for years. I was married for 6 years before we got divorced, and before that, we were dating for around 7 years. Kids do ask each other questions, where is your papa? So
Yeah.
she would very nicely say that this is my mama, pointing
Hmm.
towards me, and this is my papa, because that is what I have taught her. I try to be out of my house as much as possible. It eats me when I'm alone because there's no one to come to, there's no one to talk to. Every woman, whether married or not, it is very, very important to save money, invest money, and work.
Yeah.
People are saying that, she's trying to use her story to gain
Oh.
attention. If you're talking about the marriage love, yes, I still
Right.
believe in it, and I know I will get it.
At some point, she might ask you where he is.
I will tell her the truth.
Hey parents, welcome to another episode of the Modern Indian Parent Podcast. I'm Sanchita Daswani, a pediatric nutritionist, and this is a podcast where we are redefining parenting in Indian families. So every week we bring you episodes which help us own our modern parenting choices, even if Nani and Dadi don't agree with them. So let's bust some myths and get right to it. Today's guest on the episode is Tanya Mehra. She is a renowned mom blogger. She is a child nutritionist and a yoga instructor as well. Her main dedication is focused on early care and child development. And what we're going to talk about though today is the fact that she is also a single mom. She's a single mom that embodies strength, resilience, and passion in the various roles that she takes on. And she truly is an inspiration for so many single parents out there. And that's why we have her today to talk about her journey and how she's been able to go through it, the difficult times, the good times, and how she's been able to navigate everything. So let's welcome Tanya on the podcast. Hi, Tanya. Welcome to the Modern Indian Parent Podcast. Thank you so much for being here today. How are you doing?
Thank you so much, Sanchita, for having me over. I'm very well, and I hope you're good as well. And I'm really excited to be on your podcast.
Yeah. Thank you so much. We have known each other for a few years via Instagram. I've been following you from the beginning of your journey. And I remember you used to put out these videos, which I was like, my God, why aren't people talking about this? Like, you used to have these videos about, like, should your baby shave their head? Should they put kajal in their eyes? And I'm like, this is all such important information, especially for all of us modern Indian parents, right? Because we want to do things differently. We want some reasoning behind it. So I've always been a big fan of your entire journey, and I really feel your content is very genuine, very authentic, and very thought out. Thank you for all that you do. And for everyone that's watching and listening in, can you just tell them a little bit about yourself?
I am a mom to a 4-year-old. Her name is Noor, and I'm also a single mom. Started my content creation journey on Instagram when my daughter Noor was born in 2020. A couple of months after she was born, I went into this and never thought that would do this full time. It was just something to keep myself busy that I started during my maternity leave. I was working with one of the big four firms for about 8 years, and then I decided to quit um, and take this up full time because I think at that moment, taking care of Noor and working, I mean, only this setup could have been possible where I could be home and do it. But I never honestly imagined to be called as a content creator, full-time content creator. So I just started documenting whatever I was doing for Noor. I learned on the way. I was learning on the way from fellow mothers as well, sharing what I was doing. That is what my page is about. It is about Noor growing up. It is about me growing, learning about new things. It is about helping moms. It is about giving them all the information in one place and just becoming like their go-to person for everything related to raising a kid in the most aware, conscious, and modern way while still being true to our Indian cultures and roots.
Right. It's so interesting because none of us grow up saying we're going to be a child nutritionist or a mom blogger.
Yeah.
But it's so funny how life takes us there, and our kids really are the catalyst that get us into this position. And another big part of your journey is being a single parent. And that's the topic of today's podcast, because there are a lot of other parents who are going through the same thing. So we really hope, and I'm sure that your journey will inspire so many other single parents. So I want to ask you, kind of take it back to the beginning. In terms of your marriage, at what point did you realize that you needed to take that step? Because that's the hardest part, making that decision.
So for me, coming to the final decision was very, very tough. It would be for anyone who's in a marriage. It's never easy to part ways, especially when you've been with someone for years. So I was married for 6 years before we got divorced, and before that we were dating for around 7 years. So all in all, a 13-year relationship. And it was one of the toughest things I've ever done, and I never thought I could kind of do this. But I think after becoming a mother, is what gave me that confidence, is what put that, kind of urgency on my head to take action. Because there are certain things, I mean, for everyone, there are certain thresholds, certain limitations, certain boundaries that we have. For someone, A might be okay, and for the other person, that particular A thing might not be okay. So in our marriage, I think, a lot of boundaries were crossed, and I was not okay with them. And I was okay with them until I was alone. But when we had a third person in the picture who was our child, and knowing the fact that I was doing everything for her by myself, even when we were married, then why should the child take the brunt of it? And why should the other person take the credit for it? I mean, honestly speaking, and I did not want her to grow up in an environment which was toxic, which was not how it is supposed to be. So that is what made me strong enough to take that decision. I still tell myself that, had Noor not been in the picture, had she been not born, then maybe we wouldn't have come to this juncture in life. That's also because that once you have a child in your life, all your attention goes towards him or her, the baby. And I think at that moment, you forget about yourself, your relationship with others. It is just about making sure the baby is okay, is growing up well, is getting the best of the best. And then when, as a mother, and I feel as a wife, if you do not get that love, that reassurance, then there was no point staying back in something which had no future. Because, I mean, I believe in something, people never change. They'll always have a particular way of doing their things. Your values will always remain what they are, how they've been imbibed in you. And I could not take that chance with raising my own child. A picture of a marriage or a family that is not what it's supposed to be. So it's better not to see it at all, I feel, rather than having a wrong image of it, because children end up having these experiences, these childhood experiences that actually shape how they become. So I think that was the breaking point. That is what made me decide that it is not just about me, it is about also another human being's life and whom I'm responsible for completely. So I needed to be in my space, I needed to be myself 100%, and that was not happening.
Right. Yeah. And I feel, but it's interesting you say that, because so many people have that opposite perspective that once you have a child, it's even harder, because then they say, oh, the child will not have the father figure, or that it's even more difficult to get out of a marriage once the child is in the picture, because then there's so many more strings attached. And especially back in the day, right? There's so many couples who stayed together because their only purpose was, okay, fine, kid, we'll raise the kid, forget about us. So it took a lot of courage for you to realize, because it's also hard to think of that. But I think maybe for you, you probably realize, okay, I'm kind of already taking care of her on my own. I might as well continue the journey on my own, right, for the
Yeah,
future.
so I get your point. So when you say that people say it's harder after a child, it is. It is very hard, but it also depends on what stage of relationship and what is your child's age. So when we were in this situation, Noor was pretty young. And, prior to whatever discussions that started, she was only 2 years. So she anyways did not know a lot about what was happening. The father was not very much present before that anyway. So it was already just me being there for her as the primary caregiver, as the provider, as a support. So honestly, things never changed for us that way. So I understand that for kids that, I mean, for families that have older kids and that have spent like a considerable amount of time together as a family, that's more difficult. But I feel then those couples are also very mature in the sense that they are maturely co-parenting.
I think also now that she's older, does she ask you questions? How much does she know? How do you kind of respond to this? Because I'm sure she sees other parents together, and even if you go for school events, all of that, how are you handling that in terms of the relationship with?
So I would say kids are really smart and they
Mm.
are very, very emotionally sensitive beings. And a child can really pick up on, I mean, the mother's emotions. I mean, I have felt this, I've experienced this, I have sensed it, and I see it every day. So I'll tell you an instance. So when Noor was in a preschool, play school, they used to have these days like bring your mother to day school, bring your grandparents today, bring your father today. So during those days, I was called to the school a day prior and I was told that, you shouldn't send your kid on the bring your father to day school. So they said that you should just let her not come that day, just she can skip school. So I refused. I said, why? Why should she not come? I mean, that's what her life is going to be from now on. So she needs to be prepared right from the start. She should be comfortable with any male person in the environment, in her vicinity, surroundings, and she should be very okay to talk and she should never ever kind of feel deprived of anything. So she was in her play school for 2 years, and all of those 2 years, whenever these days happened, I sent her. And to everyone's surprise, she was very good with everyone, conversed, communicated with all the fathers out there, and she never felt that deprivation I felt. She has never asked me till date where her father is because maybe she's never seen us around that much together. And sometimes, yes, kids do each ask each other questions and they ask that, where is your papa? So she would very nicely say that this is my mama pointing towards me and this is my papa because that is what I have taught her. That right now I am both of her mother and father. And it's very important considering that we have now become very modern in terms of accepting different orientations as well. It's important for a child to understand different kind of family setups. It can be a two mother family, a two father family, an only mother family, a mother father family. I'm blessed that Noor is in a school right now where they follow the same concept of having different families.
Yeah, I think so many adults now, when they look back at their parents' relationships, I think a lot of that, a lot of traumas, a lot of things they're healing from is because their parents chose to stay together. So you made that decision that, you know what, I don't want her to go through that and I'm standing up for myself. And I think you did at the right time. And it's also so beautiful when we see our kids and how they respond to situations because, see, we have all these judgments. We have all these, oh no, it's like this. But they themselves, they just want love, they just want kindness, like that's what nurtures them. And I think whether it comes just from the mom and the grandparents, mom and dad, or two moms, two dads, we have so much to learn from our kids in terms of how life should be. So I think that's really nice the way you put it, that we can be the mom and dad at the same time. So what I wanted to ask you is, at some point she might ask you, have you prepared what you're going to say or where he is? I know right now she's younger, but as they get older, I'm sure she's going to have questions. Are you going to just be honest with her?
Well, yes, I have thought about it. She's pretty young right now and she won't understand anything. But when I feel that she does get a little older, I'm sure she will have questions and she will ask one day. And when I feel that she will be ready and she will have the right mindset to kind of understand, I will tell her the truth and I will tell her that why it ended up like this. So, telling her why, what happened, why is also a way to teach her about love because sometimes you can't always keep something that you unconditionally love. It's also very important to let go. And I think and I believe that that's what I did because maybe we were not meant to be together, but we were meant to come together and birth her, get Noor in our life. But I think that's a great point of teaching where I can kind of let her know that it's okay to let go when things are not good because your self-respect uh, is very, very important. Marriage is about sacrifice. Marriage is about adjustments, but only till a particular extent and not at the cost of your self-respect. So, she might have her own opinions of whether what I did was right or whether what I did was wrong. And I have no idea how she's going to react to it. But she deserves to know the truth. I'm not going to hide from it. I know there are a lot of movies that we see where parents don't kind of disclose what happened, and then it takes years for the kids to find out. But I don't want to do that. I think she has the right to know, and then make her own judgment
Yeah.
of what she thought was right or wrong.
Right. And I think also what's so nice to see is like us as parents today, we're also realizing it's okay to be vulnerable with our kids. Like it's okay to say not our lives weren't perfect and that we made this like not even mistake, but we had this journey and we made these decisions. So I think now as parents also we're owning not only the stuff we've done in a good way, but also owning stuff where, you know what, this happened and it's okay. And one big thing I think in terms of minimizing the impact for kids is having a good support system. So, what has been your support system during this journey? Were your parents supportive of your decision? And how involved are they? And who else is involved in helping raise her? Because obviously, it takes a lot, to raise a child today.
Yes, so no, my parents were extremely supportive. And of course, no parent would want their child's marriage to kind of just get over one fine day. But with whatever things that had kind of led to that situation, I think that was the right decision to go. And my parents were extremely supportive from day one, from the day I decided to do this and till date. We all knew of the repercussions, both sides knew about it, and they have been there throughout. And my father has been my biggest supporter, I think, in this. And I have even become more closer to him, and I discuss everything with him in detail, however personal it may be, because honestly, I feel that I've made such wrong decisions in terms of men that it's very important that I now consult like the most important man in my life to help me make the right decisions. My parents don't live in the same city as I do. Both of them are working, but they try and they come whenever they can. My mother is a doctor, so she doesn't get a lot of leaves. So she does come whenever she can. My dad travels a lot, so he makes sure that any flight that is going via Delhi, he will stay a day at least and just come and check on us. But other than that, I think my biggest support system is my nanny. And I am so grateful to her. She's been with me since 3 years now, 2 years, 2.5 years, and my other help. Because I think without them, my house wouldn't function at all. I mean, I wouldn't be even sitting here doing this podcast with you. So I owe my life to her. I treat her like my own child, like my elder child, and I say that to her. I have never ever treated them like, they are a house help or a servant or a maid. We all are a family, and I treat them, I mean, I treat them like they're my own kids. So, very grateful to them. Um, and the third support system are my friends. I have made such a wonderful bunch of friends in the last 3 years or so after becoming a mom. Because all of my old friends, school friends, they are now married in different cities. But after becoming a mother, it's very important to have parent friends also because your kind of mindset changes. And my friends have literally helped me pick me get up from the ashes because it has not been an easy journey. It has been an extremely tough journey. I don't make it look like that on Instagram, even though recently I have started sharing about my journey because now I feel I'm ready to do that. Earlier, I wasn't because I was going through it. And I know a lot of people have to say a lot about it, but I really do not care about what people think about me, say about me. At the end of the day, it's me, my family, my daughter. I am raising her the way I want to. And my friends have played such an important role. I mean, my friends have been at my door at 3 a.m. at night, at 2 a.m. at night. They've helped me with Noor when she's not well, when I'm not well. And I think these relationships, I call them my family. And the best part is all of them know if something's not right with me. I won't even tell them. They will just know. I will get these messages. Are you okay? I sense that we saw you on Instagram and I'm doing like a very happy story. and they'll say something is not right. Can we come? Can we meet? And I mean, I thank my stars. I am so grateful to all these three support systems: my parents, my especially my dad, my helps, my nanny, and my friends. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't have survived without them. It was so difficult.
And what about the friends that you guys had as a couple or while you were married? Did you have to break away from them? Are you still in touch with them? Because that's also tough because you spend several years with, people that you've known from before.
So mostly, I think 95% of them I'm still in touch with. We're still friends. Everything is as normal as it was. And I'm sure he's the one who kind of broke away from them due to whatever reasons. But like I said, I've been a single child. My friends have always been my support system, my backbone. So that, and I don't, it's very difficult for me to open up to people. But once I'm your friend, then I'm never leaving your side. And I will also make sure you never leave mine. So I'm like a very strong person in terms of relationships, whether it be a marriage, a dating relationship, a friendship, a daughter or a mother. When I'm there, I'm 100% there. And I think that's the law of the universe, right? When you give something, get the exact same thing back. And I've always gotten that back. So no, I have not lost any friendships. In fact, they have even strengthened more.
Yes.
So yes,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
find myself blessed in that.
No, I think honestly today also friends really they become like family as you said because also they understand and especially mom friends who are going through similar things just having that support. So it's so nice that you have such a good support system that has helped you through this journey. And I want to ask you about something because another reason a lot of parents get nervous about getting divorced or becoming a single parent is the finances. So I know that you said that you were also financially involved for your child as well. So probably that made it easier. But what advice do you have for parents who feel stuck or moms who want to break free, but a lot of times it's a finance that's an issue because they're not working, they're housewives. Is there any tips or any advice if they're nervous to break free because of that?
Yes, so I know about it because I get so many DMs, Sanchita. I mean, you would not even imagine the kind of messages I get from moms who are stuck in toxic marriages. They want to break free, but they are not financially independent. They don't know where to go to. Their family is not supportive, which is why I think every woman, whether married or not right now, it is very, very important to save money, invest money, and work. And even for women who are at home or moms who are at home, the world has become digital. You can even start investing right now or start working online. There are hundreds of platforms. You can do any course available on
Yeah,
Coursera, Udemy, become an instructor. Social media is available. Start creating content, work
yeah,
as interns, work as assistants for people. Because I'm sure all these are graduates at the end of the day, right? You can also hire wealth managers, asset managers who are available. I myself have a wealth manager and asset manager who just keeps everything in place and keeps me in check. There are SIPs that you can do monthly where a small amount of money will get out of your bank account.
right. Yeah, I think also now today it's just about us women making those smart choices and also realizing that we're capable. It's now when we're like, no, we can work, we can take care of it, like we can do a lot of things and we are as capable. So I think we need to empower ourselves with that. So thank you for sharing all those ideas. And I do want to talk a little bit about the emotional part of it because as you said this journey is not easy and I know you've been quite strong on Instagram and recently I know even today morning you posted about you had a rough night because of Karva Chauth coming up and as well so how do you handle yourself your emotions?
So emotionally, this has been the most draining phase of my life ever in the last 2 years. The hardest was that I had to keep up a happy face. I mean, I'm going to admit it here that I have not been able to do that 100%. It has been extremely tough. So I have cried for nights while sleeping beside Noor, and she knows about it. And in the morning, she has come up to me many times and told me that it's okay. The way I kind of console her,
Right.
she tries to do the same to me. And I know that I shouldn't be doing it, but it was so hard that I could not kind of keep up that happy face all the time. There have been times where I've just sat next to her and she's talking to me, she's playing with me, and I'm just sitting there, physically there, but not mentally there. Uh, And I am admitting it here that it is not easy when there are 100 things going in your head. And while those 100 things, you have to make sure your child goes to school on time, the tiffin is made,
Life is
lunch is
still
made.
going on. Life is still going on for your
Yes.
child. There's so many things you still have to keep doing, no matter how you feel.
Yes, and you've got to be excited for their whatever things happening in school. And there are times when I just want to sleep or I just want to cry the whole night, but I can't do that. I want to watch TV. I can't do that because it's her bedtime. So it is her bedtime, and I have to kind of adhere to those boundaries because I can't let her routine get disrupted. So it has been extremely tough. I have tried my level best to be as strong as possible. And I think had my page also not been there, I would have, I don't know, not survived, I feel. Still, so I usually plan my content months in advance, which kind of helps me because there are days or weeks where I don't work. I'm in that kind of phase where, yeah. So then that content planning, all the bulk that I have helps me during that time that I can continuously post. But still, I feel, Sanchita, that right now I'm only working at my 60%. I'm still not giving my 100% to Instagram because mentally I'm occupied in a lot of places. And yes, I have opted for therapy. And I think it's very important to kind of normalize this as well. If your mental health is not in its perfect being, it affects everything. And I have seen it myself. I used to be a person who would never fall sick. I never fell sick for years. Like for a decade, I never had fever, cold, cough. Even during COVID, I did not, yes, fall ill. But after my divorce, when my mental health was in, I mean, I would say that it was in its worst ever condition. I saw how it started affecting me. I lost a bunch of hair. I've done like a couple of reels showing like my hair, such long hair, my pride. One fine day I see there's a big, huge patch here, and I stopped eating. I lost a lot of weight. I started falling ill every 10 days. Every 10 days, I would be down with fever. I would have a cold, a cough. I would twist my ankle or something or the other was happening continuously. And I was in shock because my parents, my mom, you know, I had never been to a doctor's office in 10 years. And now I was every day at one new specialty doctor, like something's happening in my jaw. And then I got to know that I was not sleeping well. So I ended up grinding my teeth at night subconsciously, which is why my jaw used to be all numb in the morning when I used to wake up. So people don't know about this. Yes, I haven't talked about it yet. So this was due to stress that I was clenching my teeth so tightly at night that this was happening. And I had no idea that this could happen as well. So a lot has happened and still happening, but now I'm more comfortable in sharing about it. And the reason why I'm sharing this also lately on Instagram, I am getting a lot of, I think, eyes from my co-bloggers where people are saying that, she's trying to use her story to gain attention, to which I have an answer for all of them. For me, Instagram has always been a place where I share my journey raw and real. And if I'm going through a divorce, I have to share that. I cannot make up a happy life, right? So that's the reason why I'm sharing it. And why I'm sharing it is that when I disclosed about my divorce, I got that following of mothers, single parents who were going through all of this. And I realized that I cannot possibly go and talk to and everyone, listen to their problems. So I thought that it's better that I come and share what I'm going through. And maybe it'll help them understand that, yeah, it's normal. And this is going to happen and it's happening. It's just not happening with them. They're not alone. That's the reason why I started sharing it. And I think now I have been taking therapy as well because I think it's very important. Like when I said, especially when you have to take care of a child, be present there and you just can't sulk whole day in your room. So therapy was important. And the last thing that helped me cope with this, still healing, still coping, is practicing gratitude. I started reading a lot. I think I've read 50 odd books in the last year. I've read a lot. And I was a person who would never read. But then I realized that I like to read only self-help books and not fiction. So I have read so much on gratitude, manifestations, on healing. That helped me a lot. But yes, every day there's a moment in my day where I feel very lonely. I feel very alone. And I live in the same house, by the way, where we used to live as a family. So that has been tough as well. And every day at one moment, and mostly when the sun is setting and the night is about to dawn upon us, I feel very alone. And that's the time I try to go for a walk, I do my calls, I just try to keep myself distracted. But there are days when I can distract myself, and there are days when I can't. So earlier, I used to feel that I should stop crying, I should stop pitying myself. But now I think I'm in a stage where I feel that it's okay. You should cry it out, let it all out. And what has worked for me is that I try to be out of my house as much as possible because it eats me when I'm alone, because there's no one to come to, there's no one to talk to. I'm just alone with Noor, and how much will I talk to her? Yeah, or I have my helps. So I try to be out as much as possible, and I make sure so I have the past 2 years or so I've developed a taste for coffee. And my dad keeps on telling me that you should buy a coffee machine now because my both my mom and dad have one. And I keep telling them the day I buy a coffee machine, I will stop stepping out to have coffee. So every day I make sure that my one cup of coffee happens outside in some cafe, whether I'm sitting alone or meeting a friend, going for a meeting, or taking Noor for that matter.
Right, right.
So I'm not buying that coffee machine, and I'm not going to buy it because if I have that at home, then I'm
When you're going to be
stop
stuck
going
at
out.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You shared so much insight. I think it's been so beautiful to hear. Like, from what I'm understanding in terms of your journey, few things, number one is that it's okay to be vulnerable and it's okay to understand that the journey is going to take time. I think that's the first thing for a lot of single parents because it's not something that, okay, you're going to be okay, you got to step it together. But the other thing I've learned from you also is that as a single parent, it's also important to find joy in other things. Also, besides your child, in the sense, find joy in work,
Yes,
find joy in the
absolutely.
little things, in the simple things like going out every day and having a coffee or going for a walk. I think for us, we don't need to look at, oh my God, I need to do something fancy and all, but those simple joys in life can give us so much peace. And third thing is, what I've learned from you is that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to ask for help from the
Absolutely.
nannies, from the support system, from a therapist, from your friends, and that's what you need. And the fourth thing I think is, of course, learning to help ourselves grow. So I love that. And even for me, like the last few years, I've really focused on growing myself. Like I'm a huge manifester. I also believe in gratitude because I think that also just for us as parents in general, it just gives us that satisfaction or appreciation that there is something bigger that's taking care of us. The universe is working in our favor. Like that's my phone
Right.
cover right now. The universe is always working in your favor.
Yes.
And I see that it works. I see it reflect on my kids as well. Like, they also have this whole attitude about, okay, let's manifest or so they really are a byproduct of us and they learn from us. So I think those four things that you shared are really helpful for all the single parents out there. Yeah.
Right. I'd like to add one last thing to that is uh, self-love. Do what you need to do for yourself without waiting for anyone to do it for you. It took me 2 years to learn this, and I love hosting, I love cooking, right? And I love doing skincare, I love going out for movies, but I stopped doing all of it thinking that this is supposed to be done with only one person, which is my partner. But then I realized after 2 years that this is not happening. I'm wasting my years. I'm 32 and I can't just wait in the hope that someone is going to get me flowers or we're going to go out for a dinner date. So do it on your own for yourself or make it happen with a friend. But just do it. You don't need to be answerable to anyone. Stop caring about what people are thinking about you. They are not in your life. They are not raising your child. They are not going through what you, and they don't know what you do every day. So please invest in yourself. It is okay to make mistakes also. You will make mistakes. You might do things which you shouldn't do. You will learn, make mistakes as a parent, as a single parent as well. Because when there are two adults, you can kind of deliberate and kind of reach a decision. But when there's one, it's either you or Google or it's a couple of your mom friends. That's it. So, and sometimes it's okay to kind of make mistakes and just say that I didn't know, I'm learning. So, self love is very important in whatever way, and self care also. Look good, feel good, dress up every day. I think that makes a
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah, that's the fifth thing for sure. Self love. Because especially when you come out of a marriage, there's a lot of guilt. There's a lot of you're questioning yourself. Am I good enough? Did I make a mistake? Did I go wrong? So spending that time to love yourself again and find passion and do things that you enjoy, because we're all so unique. There's so many child nutritionists out there. There's so many mom bloggers out there. But what makes us unique is our personality, our identity, and we have to own that and love ourselves for that. And
Right.
that's what shows also, in your reels and on your Instagram. And I have to ask you this: what is your view on love right now? Do you
Oh, so
believe in it?
love. Absolutely. I am such a big believer of love. I have this real sacred image of love still in my heart with the hope that I am going to find it one fine day. I'm going to find it the way I want it this time, and from someone who will give it to me also in that similar kind of measure. And I think love does exist. It is not an ocean, it is not an idea. It is what keeps us going. And love just doesn't need to be in the form of a love from a partner. It can be love from your family, your parents, your daughter. So for me, I feel my nanny loves me so much that she's sticking by me and she understands my situation. So, but yeah, if you're talking about the relationship love, the marriage love, yes, I still believe in it and I know I will get it. I think it's a beautiful place to be in love. I was in love for a very long time in my life, and I feel that letting go was the biggest test of my love. And love also signifies that you can't control what the other person does. It is always unconditional. There has to be no conditions attached to it. It shouldn't be necessary that the other person should also feel or do that for you. So if you do love, I think continue to believe in it. It does exist and let go. You can't force love, but I think love is the most beautiful thing, and I would love to experience it and give it my 100% again. Mind you, when I was young and I was dating and I was in love, people would kind of quote me and my stories about the way I kind of used to just be in love. So, yes, I want to be in that place again. Um, it's going to be difficult because now I have another human being with me, my daughter, and any person who comes in my life has to also love her. So, yes.
Yeah. So I'm so happy that you still have this positive outlook on love. And I'm really looking forward for you to find so much love and continue to find so much love in your life. And I think this is a perfect way to end the podcast. Thank you, Tanya, for joining us, for sharing your journey. We will post the details of your Instagram for those who are not following her. Please do follow her. I love watching all her reels, her posts. Everything is so inspiring. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Sanchita.